what are some of the struggles that you feel comfortable kind of, just bringing up that you've gone through and you've had to kind of fight your way through to survive?
So far, I've survived addiction. Um, I've been sober for quite a while. I mean, like around 10 years now. Um, but I have a really, addictive personality, and always have had this deep hole and this deep pain that I needed to um, try to um, stifle in some way. Um, I have always fought with depression, and that finally, fairly recently, 3 4 years ago, actually went to a doctor and um, started dealing with that and got diagnosed, um, and that was a positive thing. It's led me to some self reflections that I needed to have. Um, I definitely did quite a number on myself with drugs when I was younger, and compounded with a number of brain injuries that I had when I was younger. As a kid, I had a really serious brain injury when I was about 13 in a skateboarding accident, and I had brain surgery and had multiple concussions when I was younger because I played football when I was a little kid, and then I compounded that with like a just fucking just LSD for years, and I ended up with uh, a brain that's like kind of, like my doctor said. She's like, I can't do anything about that. She's like, you know all I can do is try to teach you how to get from moment to moment and not hopefully explode at the wrong time and in the wrong way. But my main struggle day to day is with my explosiveness and my inability to control that, and it's something that's been really destructive in my life, and it's something that I very, very much would like to I would love for it to go away, although it never will. There's just too much. Um, I just have too much. I can't. I could go and go and go. Um, but I mean, I like most people, I think, who are attracted to this music, and in particular this band, Neurosis. Um, I've experienced a lot of loss. Um, I think that that's a really common thread. I've never really went out in the audience and asked them, but I just feel like that's the thread. I think that's the common thread, is we've all lost a lot of really close people, and we've lost them in really hard ways. Again, putting it in the Western perspective, it's not like we're growing up in the Middle East and we really understand what it's like to fucking lose. um, but in our context, we've lost a lot, and we've all suffered, and we've watched suffering, and so I mean, for myself, man, I'm just trying to find a way to accept the suffering as being a part of my life. Um, and I'm getting there. Uh, I'm getting there. I understand that it's necessary. I mean, it's obviously clear that darkness and light, you must have both. One can't exist without the other. All that shit, that's all obvious. Um, but the real, the true nature of existence is suffering. Reality is something that I've finally really come to understand over the last few years, and that's really where your knowledge comes from. So I've always found that I understand and connect much more with people who have suffered immensely than I can with people who haven't. As horrible as that is, and I've even like thought before, like, yeah, I would probably be much better friends with this guy if he had, fucking, lost a handful of people like I had. But that's a horrible thing to fucking say and a horrible thing to think. You would never want to wish suffering on someone. Honestly, it's not a good thing to do. Although I have many times because I'm a fucked up human, but I try to move past that. I'm trying to move towards a smarter, kinder, more empathetic, understanding human sort of way.
What are some other ways that you've managed to deal with loss and confront it and cope with it?
Well, for sure, loss is easier to deal with if you're sober. That is absolutely clear to me now. If you're not, then you're not really feeling it. Because when I got sober, it fucking hit me like a ton of bricks. All of the loss that I had preceding my sobriety, and there had been a lot of it, and a lot of it had been really significant, and it just all of a sudden just landed on me. I think that, man, I don't know. I mean, in my case, I've got kids ranging in age from 26 to 5. I have to suck it up, man, for the little ones, and I'm not very good at that at all. My wife is so much better at that. I try so hard to emulate how she's able to just soldier up for the kids, man, like when bad shit goes down like that, because it's so difficult for me to do. I immediately become in my head, as opposed to realizing that you have to stay calm, and you have to be there for everybody else first, and that's what I have to do, because that's my family, so I think everybody has a different situation. If you don't have a family, that you are responsible for, then I think you can just kind of fall back into yourself, and I don't really, but I don't know. I mean, my first kid was, happened just after I turned 20, so a lot of the loss that I've had has been since then. I lost some people before then, but most of them were after that, so, I don't know, man. I just know it's good that I'm not getting fucked up anymore, because that was never any good at all. Then I'd end up, blacking out and being crazy and really tapping into all that rage and anger and paranoia and just all that shit. I think that addicts know if they're addicts or not, you know. And obviously, there's some drugs that if you're doing them, or alcohol, if you're doing them at a certain amount, you're an addict, and there's no, you know. I think that having things that are like controlling your life like that is the type of thing that really starts to weigh on every aspect of you at a certain point. And for me, it became, I'm sure, just like every other addict, it was number one. First, it was where the drug's going to come from. After that came everything else, including my family and my band and everything else. Everything that I had worked for, everything that I cared about became second to the drugs and then the alcohol. And it slowly overtakes every aspect and then just becomes this very dark, ominous presence in every single fiber of your being. The only way to fight out of it is to just make that decision. And then when that decision is made that you need to get out, you know, depending on what you're doing, I mean, you know, if you're fucked up on drugs, I mean, you can. I'm not a doctor, so look it up yourself. But I believe that you can basically quit anything without dying. Alcohol's different. If you're actually like a full-blown alcoholic, like many years in, you can actually die from quitting it without some medical attention. So I think that that's important to kind of do your research before you embark on sobriety, because it's not as easy as just flicking a switch. But mentally, you know, I think it's one of those, you know, you fucking try, and if you fail, you fucking try again, and if you fail, you try again. And, you know, if you're fucked up on heroin, let me just say, please don't go back and do it again after you quit, because that's when you're gonna goddamn fucking die. I don't know why people don't understand that. That shit is the fucking devil. That is absolutely the devil. Heroin is the fucking devil. It's always the same fucking story. You know how many friends of mine, same story. They get clean, everything's good, they go back for one more time, and they fucking die. Always the same goddamn story, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
That one's just particularly raw for me right now. But, it's it's a battle, man. And you gotta commit. And then, but the thing is the good news and the bad news is that nothing's really different when you're sober. You know, nothing really changes when you're sober. The only thing that really changes is, like, again, the priorities change. You start to, you know, put things back in order. Your health will improve, obviously. But you got to be careful that you don't start filling it with other bullshit, because you will. You know, it's just addictive personalities, and that's what we do. Heroin is super prevalent and getting everywhere. I live in a really small town, and it's all over the place there. I live 6 miles from any major city, 6 hours from any major city, and we've got huge amounts of heroin, and people dying, and kids snorting it, and they're teenagers, and yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. I totally agree with that. The pharmaceutical shit is completely out of control. And obviously they're trying to instill some sort of, you know, further control on people, as if, you know, the fucking TV and everything else wasn't enough. I think that they needed to bring in more drugs and just pump everybody up to keep everybody down. And I think, but that's, it's a tried and true method that they have been doing for, since Vietnam, right? And I'm sure before that they had shit going on too, but we know for sure that in Vietnam they really started pumping the drugs in and learned that, oh, we could kill this whole revolution with just a good amount of good heavy dope, even weed culture. Yeah, weed never killed anybody, but what the fuck else did anybody really do on weed? I'm not saying they don't. Sorry if you did. I did, but I also didn't. I did quite a bit of creative stuff, and I watched a lot of fucking TV. Watched a lot of dumb shit. Did a lot of dumb shit. Didn't get a whole lot done that I could have. Again, to each his own, but just be careful of dulling the blade, because I think the thing is we have to accept, to me, we're fucked, They do what they're gonna do. If they decide to just bring out the tanks and mow us down, they will. And that's kind of the bottom line, unfortunately. But I also think that there's a better life that can be had in the moment, and I think that that's really the key, is the moment right now, because everything else is, we have no fucking grasp of it whatsoever, and we never will. It's well outside of our hold. It's all in their hands, and all we can do is just exist now.